Welcome in to I Remember My First Time. Oh, don't be nasty, Jacob. Not that first time.
Damn it.
This is a podcast about cinematic awakenings,
I like the sound of that.
where we talk about movies we love with someone who just popped their cherry to that movie.
Oh my god, that sounds good.
Jacob, are all the movies we do on this podcast going to be good movies?
God, I hope not.
Do we like shitty movies?
Oh, we love shitty movies. Sometimes, even more than good movies.
Are we critics?
Absolutely not.
But do we love movies?
Oh, we love the shit out of movies. And this week's masterpiece, classic, all-time Christmas great, the Dr. Seuss made into a movie 2000 Jim Carrey Whoville classic, How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Jacob, help me. I'm feeling.
BJ, I'm just eating because I'm bored.
I am BJ Leica, and this movie made me want to hang myself with a necktie.
Joined as always by me, Jacob Beakus. And there is, however, one teeny tiny Christmas tradition I find quite meaningful. Mistletoe. Kiss it, bitch! We got it. We are joined by someone who reminds me, in a weird way, of a younger, less hairy version of myself. I guess that's not weird. He is my brother. Our most frequent guest, our number one fan, number one listener, my brother, David Eakes. Welcome, David.
I just don't have hair in the face, Jacob. I got hair other places. and let me tell you, it makes wiping take twice as long.
Nobody understands the awfulness of wiping if you're not hairy. Nobody
Get a
gets
bidet,
it.
dude.
Okay, let's get a bidet everywhere I move to in Southeast Asia, dipshit.
You want to make a company that makes portable bidets?
I'm fucking down because I need one, me and my dirty asshole.
They're amazing. Like when I go on vacation and I don't have one for a week and I get back, I don't even have to poop. I just go sit on it and just get a little spritz up there.
Hey, when I was in Tokyo for the layover and there was that bidet, I'm like, I'm not using that shit. I told everyone I didn't use it. I'm telling you now, I used it.
Hell yeah. I'm the person that for all of my life, like I'm a big guy. I've always been a big guy. I like to eat. I like to eat shitty food. If I need to take a shit, I'm going to take a shit anywhere that I'm at. I don't care. And then I got introduced to bidets by a high school friend named Jacob also. And shout out Jacob Cohen. I'm sure he listens to this sometimes. And after I got introduced to bidets, I suddenly realized that I do like taking a shit at my house more than anywhere else because I love water spraying up my asshole after I take a shit.
This week's podcast brought to you by bidets.
That's way funnier than it should be.
So this week we got our classic Christmas movie, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey one, described by IMDb as, on the outskirts of Whoville lives a green, revenge-seeking Grinch who plans to ruin Christmas for all the citizens in town.
I mean, it's pretty accurate. And I had someone ask me the other day, like, what's he seeking revenge for? I'm like, you just weren't watching the movie because they treated that dude like shit. And then they're all confused.
Joke.
Like, what?
Just take a joke. He made fun of you one time. Calm down.
I think it's a kids movie. They didn't show it. They did. I'm sure they gave that. On a side note, did you notice that the Grinch straight up murdered another baby when he was coming into Whoville? Like, you know that baby didn't survive in the wilderness. He like knocked it off and it like goes off into the wilderness. Like straight murder in a kids movie.
you know, David, I was going to wait to bring this up later, but this is a perfect time to bring this up. I want to BJ sent this to me off TikTok. Tell me if you ever noticed this. If the Grinch hasn't been to Whoville for 20 years, and the only way he gets things is through the Whoville trash chute, how did he get Max?
What, dude? I try to have a good time. Don't put that evil on me.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
We can joke about dead babies, but you can't joke about dead dogs. Don't you do that shit.
David, speaking of joking about dead dogs, I'm walking in the old quarter of Hanoi, Vietnam, and I see these huge pigs, these huge roasted pigs, and I look at Nema, and I was like, hey, you want to get a roasted pig? And she looks at it, and then I double take at it, I triple take at it, look at Nema, and I go, that's a fucking dog. That is a fucking dog. And it was rows and rows and rows of roasted dogs. You could tell from the tails and the ears. And I'm like, that's a motherfucking dog.
Wait, BJ, don't worry. Jacob and I talked about this. No. Let's not get that. Don't worry. Jacob has told me that he doesn't care the culture. He's not eating a dog.
Yeah, I will try any food. I'll even try horse meat when I'm in Mongolia. I will not try dog. And it was funny because like when I first talked about that, Nema was like, I don't plan on trying it either, but I'll be okay. And as we're walking by it, the look on her face, I was like, you thought you'd be okay, didn't you? She's like, I did, but I'm not. They were fucking dogs. There were like 10 of them, like 15, just roasted.
You know what's crazy about that? It's like a rotisserie chicken. They make that many because people are going to buy them. I mean, they don't just make them to just, like it's crazy. So let's get back on track. I don't want to talk about roasted dogs anymore.
So Jake, do we have the IRMFT plot summary this week?
We have the plot summary that we're doing now because we're better at it.
Well, ours is a little more extensive. Theirs are one sentence stuff. We're trying to somewhat sum up the movie as well.
Yeah, I mean, you typically do the IMDb review. You have it because I don't. Or do you want me to go with ours?
I sent you ours. I already did the.
Okay. Oh, well, you asked me about IMDb. That's why I'm confused. Anyways, it's the fucking Grinch. You know the story. Everyone in Whoville loves Christmas except for the Grinch. He is invited to the town festival where after a brief time of acceptance, he is then teased again. This pissed them the fuck off, and he plots his revenge to return to Whoville and steals everyone's presents. Initially irate, the town learns that consumerism isn't important. It's about friends and family and kindness. Cindy Lou, who visits the Grinch, and he bah humbug ways of the Grinch are changed as he accepts Christmas and returns all the stolen presents. His heart grows 3 sizes.
Did that spoil the movie for anybody? Did we spoil the ending?
I mean, the movie came out in 2000. Who cares?
We didn't do the spoiler alert at the beginning of this, so no.
So, the 2000 Jim Carrey version of The Grinch, 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 46% on Metacritic is what this movie is scored.
None of this surprises me.
No. I mean, I rate it higher, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, me too. Doesn't surprise me at all. It's very much a stupid Christmas movie.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to go into it with that mindset. I mean, Jim Carrey is known for his overacting. You need to go into it knowing what, it's a Jim Carrey movie.
So, first time in a while we've had this, but we've got a Roger Ebert review again, and I'm so happy.
Well, I'm sure he hates this movie.
2 out of 4 stars.
Oh.
So, hate's a strong word.
So
but
Jacob's already backpedaling. You guessed wrong, bitch.
He didn't like it. That's a 5 out of 10. But he didn't hate it.
He writes, "The Grinch Who Stole Christmas has a reason for growing up to be so bitter. As a child, he was picked on for being green and having hair all over his body and a beard. Show me the child who would not pick on such a classmate, and I will show you baby Jesus himself." Yes, there's a happy ending, and even a saintly little girl who believes the Grinch may not be all bad, but there's not much that happens before the ending, and the little girl is more of a plot device than a character. The Grinch is played by Jim Carrey, who works as hard as any actor has ever worked in a movie to small avail.
Wow,
The
I like that.
balance-
Wow. It sounded so good for a second. I was like, giving Carrie his props. Then he immediately took a left turn.
He was not giving Carrie his props. Was
No,
not.
he wasn't.
The balance is off. There should be more scenes establishing sympathy for the Grinch, fewer establishing his meanness, more scenes to make the townspeople seem interesting, a jollier production design, and a brighter overall look. Of course, I may be wrong, as the Grinch himself observes. One man's toxic sludge is another man's potpourri, or vice versa, I'm afraid.
Hey, he himself
I don't
is
know how you
admitting
could-
that it's a good movie. He just didn't like it. That's what that last sentence said.
I don't
He
know
was
how-
admitting it was a good movie.
He
I
just
don't know-
called it toxic sludge, David.
To other people, but to other people, it's potpourri. So he knows that it's good to some people.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Also, how do you make this movie more colorful and make the set more? What? You can't do that. This movie's already got all of that.
I know what he's saying, but I think what he would like to see is more charm. There's surprisingly lack of charm for how over the top the production of the town is.
I guess so. I disagree. Anyways, I have some budget stuff. I got a couple bits of trivia. This was the top-selling movie ticket of the year 2000 with 50 million tickets sold. It was the highest-grossing Christmas movie since Home Alone's 1990 run. Its budget was $123 million.
Oof.
Its opening weekend, it made $55 million. Its U.S. Canada numbers were $260 million, almost $300 million. And its gross worldwide was almost $4 million. So it did extremely well in the box office.
That's not a surprise. It was a Christmas movie with Jim Carrey in the year 2000.
And
It
it was
doesn't help.
The Grinch.
It doesn't hurt that it's the Grinch. You're going to get Grinch fans. Just even if you hate the movie, you're probably seeing it.
Yep. And it's easy to take kids to a Christmas movie, especially like the late 1990s, early 2000s. Like that was prime time movie theater experience.
Well, Jacob, I'm going to let you go first on what you thought of the movie, and I'm going to bring in the rear.
Of course, you're going to bring in the rear, you little bitch. This movie is not as good as I remember it growing up. I didn't laugh as much as I did when I was growing up, and that I'm sure that's due to nostalgia. It's been, I don't know, 8 or 10 years since the last time I saw this movie. This isn't like a rewatchable for me. I have seen this movie like 10 or 15 times, possibly 20 altogether. But it's been about 10 years since the last time I've seen it. I remember laughing a lot more. I remember enjoying it a lot more. And again, I'm sure that's nostalgia, but I still love Jim Carrey. I still love the set. I love the making fun of consumerism. I love the whole making fun of the Christmas stuff. And I loved Jim Carrey as the Grinch, and I loved Little Max. And I forgot how much I loved Max, and I'm sure it doesn't help that my dog's name is Max, and I'm traveling half the world away from my dog, and I don't have my dog. I'm sure that played a lot into it too, but I fucking miss my dog. Anyways, David, what did you like about the movie?
I feel like you guys don't have holiday traditions, do you? Like, because
No.
there's set movies I watch every year with the kids or by myself sometimes. Christmas movies. The Grinch is one of them. Home Alone, The Santa Claus. Like, so
Wait,
I
David,
laugh at this.
Before you go on, BJ, I want to tell you a quick story about David because his whole Christmas tradition things. Our family grew up huge with the holidays, specifically Christmas. It's a huge thing in our household. And before I left for Vietnam, flew out to hang out with David for a little bit, and we're driving in the car, and David's, I don't know who's the oldest, they're fucking twins. It's the one that's taller, Rory.
She's a couple
And-
minutes older too, so
Okay, so it was the older one. We're talking about Christmas, and we start talking about trees, and Rory goes, "I just don't understand why we don't get a fake tree. It makes more sense." And David interrupts her with all kinds of ultimate dad aggression. He goes, "Well, that'll never happen in this household." No, he goes, "Well, that'll never fucking happen in this household."
So David's basically Clark Griswold.
Yes,
Yeah.
David is all about. Well, my grandpa or our grandpa was telling me a story that those drive-through light displays that country people set up that are like 7 to 10 acres big. When David lives by one of those, he goes 4 or 5 times a year. You have to pay every time you go. There's not a season pass.
Oh, well, David, my story to your Christmas tradition is I was waiting tables one year, and it was the week of Thanksgiving. And it was right before a shift, and the manager comes up and is like, "Hey, when do you guys think we should start playing Christmas music?" And everyone's kind of hemming and hawing, and I go, December 24th.
You guys, I'm so sorry. These are great traditions, guys. You have fun with them. Yeah, so as you know, I'm a huge traditions guy, and as you mentioned, the Christmas tree thing. Liz was pregnant. My wife Liz was pregnant before. That was for the listeners. I know you know who Liz is. That was stupid. So, wait, who's listening to it besides me? I'm on here. I'm just kidding.
You're not, though.
so Jesus. She's pregnant, so it could pop the baby out at any time, and we couldn't drive the 2 hours to this Christmas tree farm because there's nothing by us because we're in Florida by the beach. So I find out about this permit that I can get to cut down a tree on base property. And usually that means off of where people live at. Like, you can't cut trees down where people live at. But I was like, I saw this perfect tree in housing area. There's not even houses by this tree. So, and there's no explicit rule that you can't do it. But I'm just this rule follower guy where I'm just like, oh my God, if it doesn't say I can, I don't know if I can. It just say I can't. So I wait till it gets dark and I go park away from the tree. I go out there and I run to the tree. I cut it down real quick and I run back to the truck. And man, I felt alive.
I love how much of a rule follower you are, because I'm sure, like you said, you felt alive. Like, that was probably one of the most exhilarating things you've ever done in your life, sprinting back with a Christmas tree too.
Oh, for sure. It was I must have looked stupid.
And you jump out of planes for a living.
Yeah, I know. It was on that same level. That's what's sad.
I'm just picturing full sprint while dragging this Christmas tree behind him. Just his handsaw just running.
Yeah, it was so stupid. Stupid.
BJ, is there anything you liked about this movie?
Wait, I have one thing to say real quick about the movie before BJ goes. I think you guys are both wrong. This movie was amazing. I don't understand how you're saying, oh, it wasn't as good as I remember. Jacob, it is just as good as you remember. Go fuck yourself. Did you watch it with commercials? Because if that might have let it down a little bit. You gotta
I did not. I raw dogged it.
Yeah, so I don't understand.
I had to watch it on Freevee with commercials, and I would like to quote a great man and describe this movie as, it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Fuck you.
Who are you quoting?
Huh?
Who are you quoting?
The Rock. Whoever had the idea of let's make a live action Grinch movie, they should have immediately been kicked out of the studio and asked never to return. It's a terrible idea. The Grinch does not need to be a comedic figure. Why do you have Jim Carrey play him? That's not a comedic figure. There's no need for that. And it's a Christmas movie that needs two things. You need two things in a Christmas movie. You need sweetness and you need charm. And with Cindy Lou who was supposed to be the sweetness of this movie, Ebert says, and he's right, she's just a plot device. There's no character there. So there's no sweetness in the movie.
Bullshit.
And
Cindy Lou was sweet. Both
she
of
was
y'all
a
can go
plot
fuck
device.
yourselves. We're also talking about things we liked in this movie. You didn't like one thing.
Not Christine Baranski's hot as hell in this movie.
You whatever. Like this movie is the biggest pile of dog shit. I've showed you Troll Hunter on here, dipshit. We've
This is
watched
almost as bad.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
whatever. What the? No, okay.
I
First
did
of all,
not-
you just said you need two things to be a Christmas movie, and I have you both on record saying that Violent Night is a Christmas movie, and Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Oh yeah,
So fuck off.
Both of those movies are sweet. This movie's not sweet.
What's sweet about Die Hard?
He's doing it for Holly and his kids.
The cocaine.
And the cocaine.
Damn it. It's like a chick who gives a genuine answer. BJ's like, oh, the cocaine.
I posted a meme on Facebook at the start of the Christmas holiday, and it was Ozzy Osbourne holding up a bag of cocaine, and it said Ozzy sharing his secret. Ozzy sharing his the amount of sugar he puts in his Christmas sugar cookies.
Oh my God.
The dog's dope. I like the dog. The dog's dope.
I wholeheartedly disagree with you, except for the dog thing. Movie was fire. I love this movie.
Okay, well, we know what BJ didn't like, all of it. David, is there anything you didn't like?
Yes, but why am I blanking right now? I mean, it's not a perfect movie. I won't go so far as say like the movie's perfect, but I don't know.
I mean, it's a shitty Christmas movie. There's like there's like three good ones. There's Home Alone 2, Die Hard, and I guess 4 with Violent Night. Like I've seen 4 Christmas movies that I really actually enjoy watching all the time. All the other Christmas movies suck. And you just get over it because they're fucking Christmas movies. Like,
yeah, how do you not just enjoy the humor? And I'm sure it's in your trivia, but the whole like the key bowl, like putting your keys in the bowl at a Christmas party, like that's for sure an adult thing that's in a kid's Christmas movie. You know, just those little gag things, and I love those little gag things in movies.
I did laugh once in this movie when the babies came down, and the one guy says, "The baby's here, honey. It looks just like your boss."
That was pretty.
Only time of the movie I laughed. That was it.
The only time he did my favorite.
Only
I think.
time.
Spoiler alert! It's in my top 4 scenes. But where he was like, the Grinch is like, "You're an idiot." Like, I'm an idiot. And then his echo goes, "You're an idiot." It gets me every time. I don't know why that cracks me up. I can't believe that didn't make you giggle. At least giggle.
Nope.
Yeah. You didn't even crack a smile.
Nope.
Oh man.
Sometimes BJ's the worst person.
Right now he is. Jesus. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I can't pinpoint it. If I remember later, I'll interject. But there's something I didn't like about the movie, and I just can't remember what it is right now.
I wasn't a fan of the singing, but I hate singing in movies, so
that's what it was. It was the singing and the Grinch song. I just leave it out. You're going away from you're doing a live action, and it's almost all different. Just leave the song out. You don't need it.
Well, and the You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, is such a great song in the 1960s cartoon. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's perfect. And I don't know what they did in this movie, but it was like 14 different voices, each singing a different line. It was.
Why couldn't they just? They should just let the song the same. Like, yeah, you're doing a live action. Just use the old song and put it over that scene. You know what I mean? That would be the easiest solution. They probably didn't have the rights for it, though. I don't know.
Question of the pod. One of the main questions of the pod. Was it a good or bad movie? David being our guest, was it a good or a bad movie?
Of course it was a good movie. Of course.
I guess he breaks the tie.
It's not a top tier Christmas movie. I watch it because I'm a tradition guy. If based on quality of a movie, I would not watch it every year if it wasn't part of my tradition like playlist.
I do, and I do consider it a good movie, but it's graded on a Christmas movie curve, and I believe I just expressed how I feel about Christmas movies. Like there's like 4 that I like.
So
And
David,
this isn't on the list. This isn't on the list of the 4 that I think are great.
so
But
David, where does it rank? Like within Christmas movies? Like I'm assuming it's like below Elf for you, right?
Oh, for sure. Elf actually, you may disagree with me, but Elf is
He
my
does.
number 1 movie.
he hates
Elf
Elf
is
too.
number. What? Oh, that sucks.
Oh, I don't hate Elf. I think Elf is just okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. Elf is my number 1. Then it kind of goes to like the Santa Claus, and then the Home Alone movies, Die Hard, basically everything. And then I guess I'm not gonna list all of them, but basically the Grinch ends the list.
So
It's on my list? But it's
is
not
it in
there.
the Jingle All the Way range?
Fuck Jingle All the Way. I hate that movie, and I don't know why. But every time I watch that movie, I'm just like this. I guess I don't like that the dad's like trying to sleep with a married woman the whole time. The neighbor, like I don't know. That just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. I just don't like it.
That's fair. I do want to throw in that I always forget about Tim Allen's Santa Claus movie, and I think that's a great Christmas movie too. That can round out my top 5 for Christmas movies. I'm not big on the sequels, but that first one is
First
fucking
was
great.
gold.
Yeah,
I hope y'all do that as a podcast eventually, but I'll go ahead and say how I feel about the end of that movie. It's a classic Christmas movie where at the end the son straight up like, I'm murdering my dad to become Santa. Like I don't know how no one caught that. Like as a kid I didn't catch it, but as an adult he's like, you're gonna make so like the stepdad's like, you're gonna make a hell of a psychologist someday. You're like, I think I'm gonna go into the family business. I'm like, bro, the only way you can become Santa Claus is by killing your dad. Jesus.
I absolutely love the little innuendos that writers put in kids' movies and TV that you finally get privy on when you get old enough. They're amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know that. Yes, The Grinch makes my top list, but it's at the bottom. It's still a good Christmas movie.
Well, we know BJ thinks it's bad. Probably one of the worst movies he's ever seen in his life.
Is that true, BJ? Does this round your top? Hey, just for fun, name your top. Does it make your top 3?
Christmas movies?
No,
top 3 worst movies you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Oh, okay, so you hate it, but no, it's not a like doesn't make your top whatever.
Let's put it this
Gotcha.
way. I enjoyed watching the Tim Burton Batman and Robin George Clooney movie more than this.
Yeah, that has bat nipples, duh.
It has bat nipples and it has freeze you later or whatever he says. I can't, it has
It's
like
time
awesome
to freeze. I mean, you can't beat Schwarzenegger and Jim Carrey in this. Oh, Jim Carrey's not in that movie. I mess that up every time.
No,
but it's Schwarzenegger and Tommy Lee Jones. Amazing.
No, it's just Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger's the only bad guy in that one.
Oh, that's right. Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey are in the same movie.
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger's not the only bad guy. You have Uma Thurman.
Oh, that's right.
That's true. I just hate like they didn't they didn't throw in get to the chopper somehow with it. Like I don't know how they could work it in, but they're Hollywood writers. They could have done it.
My thought was get to the chiller.
That's it. Yeah. But it's just like the fasten your seatbelts. Like there's just certain times where you're just handed gold. You just handed these puns, and when they don't deliver, it just makes me lose faith in humanity a little bit more.
That is the reason that BJ and I have still not seen the Fast 10 movie, because they didn't make it the title of the movie, and if they weren't going to make it the title of the movie, they could have at least made it the tagline, and they didn't do either or.
It streams. I have Peacock. I let y'all watch Peacock on my on my account. It's just cost me anything. It's actually free because of my credit card. Still won't watch Fast 10. For that reason, still won't watch.
Eventually, we all will, but we're all so salty. Yep. We're all such punny guys.
We're so mad because they didn't use a pun as the tagline of the movie.
As we're saying it out loud, it's pretty ridiculous that we haven't seen it yet because of other fun.
Okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode.
I waste so much time on this podcast, guys. I'm sorry.
I very much enjoyed the cutting down a Christmas tree you paid as a permit was exhilarating as jumping out of planes at 1,000 feet in the air.
Because he was only 99.9% sure it was okay and not a full 100.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his brother's the rule breaker. Like every time I can bring up rule breaking, like Nima's just like she's like rules are meant to be broken, huh? And every time I'm just like, yeah, if they weren't, you wouldn't be able to vote, both as a black woman and a woman. So 100% they're meant to be broke.
Yeah, rules are dumb.
I understand. I don't know. It's just in my nature. I don't get it. I don't know. I can't explain it.
All right, BJ, let's hear the Mount Rushmore of scenes you got. Were you able to pick 4 out of this quote unquote dog shit movie?
Sure. Number 4.
I can't. I should have muted my mic the way you were like, sure.
He came up with 4 scenes from Troll Hunter. I knew he could come up with 4 scenes from here. At least he finished this movie before texting us how bad he thought this movie was. He was about halfway through Troll Hunter and he texted me how pissed he was.
Number 4 is the Grinch standing on the mountain, expecting the townspeople to be pissed, and they're singing out joyous chorus. It was sweet. It was the sweetest part of it
in this movie.
Yeah, that's it. My number 4 scene. That 30 seconds was sweet. Awesome. I had to go through an hour and 40-minute movie and about 40 minutes of commercials, and I got 30 seconds of sweetness. It's awesome. Great.
I genuinely think that you would have enjoyed this movie at least a little more had you not been dealing with commercials. That's my theory.
No.
The third scene.
He would not have. BJ's favorite thing that is happening in his life right now is his 3-year-old tells everyone at school that they don't celebrate Christmas. It's his favorite thing. He's like, I can't wait till he goes to my mom's and tells my mom that we don't celebrate Christmas.
What do? You just give him presents, or do you save him money? Is this all a ploy to save Christmas money?
Yeah, it's not Christian. Why would I celebrate Christmas?
No, I get that, but so do they just like not? They go to school and all these other kids got Christmas presents and your kids didn't?
Correct. Yeah. They get Christmas presents from his parents, and that's it.
No, I was just curious. So I get it. Okay.
They're not pagans, David.
You know that reminds me of like BJ should do what South Park does with Cartman. Like when other people, like the episode where everyone else gets a gift, and so he gives his kids a gift because they got a gift. It's not because it's Christmas. It's just like, here's a gift. I don't know. That's what that reminds me of that he could do.
All right, sorry, BJ. Number 3.
Yep.
Number 3 is the Grinch stealing everybody's presents.
Okay.
Mainly because George Bluth basically eats a dog's asshole out in this scene.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. He sure does.
And I forgot that that's George Bluth. That is George Bluth.
That's basically the only reason that's 3. Number 2 is this is kind of a lion cheating and stealing scene, but it's the 2 scenes where Christine Baranski and Molly Shannon are putting up their lights and / showing off their lights at the contest. I found those 2 women incredibly funny when they were on screen together. The little light gun where she put up the lights with the light gun was awesome.
And I love how turned on she is by using the gun.
Am I supposed to find Christine Baranski as hot as I found her in this movie?
100% you are.
You are, because I remember watching this as a kid, and then I watched it as a younger adult going, man, she's, wow, okay. And then I looked her up and I'm like, oh, man. I was like, she's not hot. Or
disagree.
Not as hot as I'm not saying
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Disagree.
I know. Oh, okay. So, all right.
Christine Baranski is proof that you don't need to be a male to have big dick energy, is all I'm saying.
That's fair. Yeah.
And the undoubtedly best scene in this movie, I actually did legitimately like this scene, was the Jubilee Festival. I thought Jim Carrey was much funnier when dealing with the people in town than he was by himself in a cave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I don't know where y'all are.
The Jubilee is a great scene.
Yeah, I don't know where y'all are going to rank this, but I thought this was actually a really good scene, and I kind of started to get interested again, and then shortly after there lost interest. But I did get a little interested in this scene. I thought it was really good. Like I said, Jim Carrey was funnier when he was around the townspeople than with himself. He's around the townspeople the whole time. They start to appreciate the Grinch and start to love him. And then it immediately turns and he does the reverse mohawk to the mayor and burn a Christmas tree down by spitting out whiskey into a lighter. And that's always funny.
If this movie had a villain, because I think the whole point of this movie is to make the Grinch out to not be a villain, air quotes, like I know he's a villain in the beginning, but I think, you know what I mean? The mayor's the villain in this movie. He's
for sure.
Just a, like,
he's also the only Who that doesn't learn the true meaning of Christmas.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, the whole town learns it. The whole town doesn't learn it. The mayor's pissed. And, I mean, if BJ was George Bluth, he'd be pissed too, because he was this close to having Christine Brzezinski say yes to him.
And the problem is when the mayor, the lawmaker, the decision maker doesn't believe in it, the town is still doomed to fail.
Yeah, especially in a fascist-run town like Whoville.
Clearly a fascist town.
For sure. I just love how he says, if you agree to marry me, you'll get this car paid by the taxpayers, of course. I'm like,
and my other favorite scene is just like, I mean, we can nominate him, but he's not going to come here, and then we'll put the crown on somewhere that actually deserves it. And his buddy's like, the mayor, and he's like, oh, yeah, basically.
What a scathing review of American political system this movie was.
No, that movie
that was the reason that I thought you'd like this movie. All right, so that rounds out BJ's top 4. David?
Mine are ironically, for someone like BJ hates the movie. I love the movie. We had very similar scenes. But my number 4 scene was when he was stealing Christmas, because I thought you got to have that in the movie, because that's part of what made the original Grinch cartoon so famous, was him stealing Christmas, and returning it. I kind of I know that's the end of the movie, but I kind of lumped that into a scene. Him stealing it. As long as all they had to do to make that scene perfect almost was just to use the old song. It's ridiculous. Why use that new song? And that was my 4th scene.
And that scene in the cartoon is much better than it is in this movie.
Yeah, I agree. And then my 3rd one, I kind of put my 2 and 3 are basically you hated it, but I loved it when he was by himself with the you're an idiot. That gets me every time.
I'm going to whisper. That way, by the time my voice gets to you and reverberates back to me, I can't even hear it. You're an idiot.
Yes. And then he was like, when he's debating, because that's how I'm just combining them. But basically, my 2 scenes, 3 and 2, are that, the cave scenes, because I love what he's listing out the reasons he can't go. He's like, solve world hunger, tell no one. I didn't get that till I was an adult. As a kid, I'm like, I don't understand why that's funny. And then I'm like, oh my God, that's hilarious. So, he was and he was just slip slowly into madness.
Yeah,
and he was like, David, have dinner with myself.
This is on my Mount Rushmore. I have it for you. He's like, 4, wallow in self-pity. 4:30, stare into the abyss. 5, solve world hunger, tell no one. 5:30, jazzercise. 6:30, jazzercise. Yeah, jazzercise. 6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. 7, wrestle with my self-loathing.
I got to admit, that was basically my daily schedule during COVID.
Oh, jeez. So I don't understand how that didn't make. I know you said you hated him by himself, but I felt like he was gold when he was by himself. Like I don't know. But my number one scene was also was it your first or second? I can't remember. But
The award
Jubilee
Jubilee was
scene.
his first, yeah.
Yeah, that was my number one scene too. Because I just like how they were like stuffing like fudge in his face, just like bring it on or whatever he said.
Is that all you got?
Yeah, I thought that was. And then when the mayor like. When you like know you already knew the mayor was the villain, and then the mayor gives him that shave, like a gift of a Christmas shave, and I'm like, "Fuck you!" But yeah, those are my scenes.
My top 4 are pretty similar to y'all's. I do have one that y'all didn't include, and it was just whatever. I enjoyed it way more than I should have, but I loved Cindy Lou getting the story of the Grinch as a child. I thought that was funny. I thought him hiding his cuts with the bag, the present, the boot.
Yeah.
I loved Sydney Lou talking to Martha Lou, and when the kid Grinch picks up the Christmas tree, and he's just like, "I hate Christmas." The mayor goes, "The anger." His buddy goes, "The fury," and she goes, "The muscles."
Yes, she's clearly turning herself on, remembering this moment in her childhood.
And that just cracked me up so much. I thought that whole little like the Grinch growing up bit was funny. Like,
which one was that though?
Huh?
Which one was that? 3, 4?
Oh, that was 4. That's my 4th one.
Okay. Gotcha.
I love when the kids are coming down to Whoville and he bumps the one that's probably going to the house that he's going to, and he laughs.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, little fucker." I thought that was the Grinch child. I thought was perfect. My number 3 is my first Eddie Guerrero scene. My lice eating chill. I lumped the stealing Christmas and saving Christmas as one big scene.
Yeah.
I loved him building the sleigh. I loved the sleigh ride down. I loved him talking to Cindy.
When he ends the sleigh ride just by motorboating Christine Baranski.
Oh, no.
He just needed to get laid. That's the moral of the story. He just needed to get laid.
Those are 2 different scenes, because when he motorboats Christine Baranski, he's coming through the trash chute to the award Jubilee.
Oh, okay.
But notice how of good mood he was in after he motorboated her.
Of course.
He was feeling it.
How could you not be? In this scene, I loved him talking to Sydney Lou, pretending that he's Santa. And after that whole conversation, he's like, "Nice kid. Bad judge of character, though." BJ, like you, I thought George Bluth making out with Max's ass was hilarious. I loved the CGI that they gave the dog's eye. I was like, "Oh my god." and then Max rubbing his ass on the ground cracked me up. And then I end this scene with homegirl telling George Bluth that she's not going to marry him and going with the Grinch. And he's like, "No hard feelings." Then goes, "Ha ha, cheer up, dude. It's Christmas." My number 2 scene is the award Jubilee. It's not my first scene. The first thing that I have written on here is motorboating Martha's breasts, because amazing. I love the ugly sweater they put him in, the pudding contest, the Christmas kunga. I love probably my favorite part outside of the monologue he gives about gifts, because that was amazing, and the mistletoe, now pucker up and kiss at Whoville, was the sack race against the kids and him pushing the kids to the ground. And he goes, "I'm number 1. No child can beat the Grinch."
Yeah, and I love how in that scene he steals the watch. We're like, "I got you this. That's my watch." I just love that.
And I love the little tiny car that he's like, "Move over." And since it takes up this whole car, and then we get a classic action movie car explosion.
Oh,
that cracked me up.
I'm surprised you didn't mention "it's because I'm great," isn't it?
Oh, when he's trying to hail the taxi?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And then my last lice eat and chill scene, because of course I have to, is every time, unlike you, BJ, I thought this was the best part of the movie. Every time the Grinch is in the cave by himself.
Ugh.
I think it's whatever. I'm a Jim Carrey fan.
The brakes are a little sticky, but that's what these tests are for. When he slams into the wall.
I love when the Who's are doing their shit and he's putting nails in the blender. He's got he's like, here's my sedative, and he's got the jackhammer monkey hitting him in the head. I loved him breaking the fourth wall. I love that in movies when movies break the fourth wall. He's like, kids today so desensitized by movies. What else do I have on here? We already did the self-loathing bit. Oh, I whether BJ caught it or not, I know BJ likes this part of this scene because he's like, what if it's a cruel prank? A cash bar.
Yes. That was a mildly funny line.
How dare they?
Yeah. If you're throwing a Christmas party and it's not a free bar, don't fucking invite me.
No.
Yeah. I understand if you're like if you tell everyone it's BYOB because you're just having people over, it's fine. But yeah, don't invite me to a Christmas party and then charge me for drinks. Fuck you.
And then the last little bit that he's in the place by himself is when he's building, like just after he built the sleigh. And I know this kind of lumps my number 3 and number 1 scene together, but whatever. I have it here as Grinch place number 3. I love the reference to Santa being a fat man. Of course, he calls him Fat Boy, but just doing Fat Man earlier this week for the pod. Fat Boy should be done soon. What a recluse. He only comes out once a year and never gets any flack. Bet he only does that for the tax breaks. That rounds out my top 4. I'm like, again, I had so much fun watching this movie. It's a fun movie. BJ can go fuck himself.
I thought BJ was genuinely messing with us earlier when he said how bad the movie was. I thought he was messing with us.
As soon as Nima had my laptop, and the Telegram's always on my laptop, and BJ sent that, and Nima's like, is BJ talking about the Grinch? And I didn't even have to look. And I was like, what did he say? She goes, this movie's dog shit. And I'm like, 100% he's talking about the Grinch. And I knew he wasn't kidding.
Crazy.
BJ, do we have a movie related talk?
I did just want to bring up that I realized that Max is, that was ironic, that Max is simply the Grinch's conscience. He's the one that makes him save Cindy Lou in the presents. He's the one that makes him go to the Jubilee. He's essentially the Grinch's conscience. I don't know if he's real. He might just be a metaphor for his conscience.
That would make the theory better of how did he get Max if he only gets the stuff through the trash chute. But with how this movie is and how shitty the Whoville people are, I'm going to go with Max is real.
Yeah, because he also barks at the kid, the teenagers too. Like he's like, "Good job, Max," or whatever.
Dogs just happen to be sweet, and they're the best part of their owners, even when the dogs are shitty.
Okay, that was it.
It's a good theory, though, that Max isn't there. I mean, it's a decent theory.
All right, character breakdowns, BJ. Who we got first?
The Grinch.
I know. I just wanted to hear you say it again.
Da. The Grinch. He doesn't need to be funny. There's no reason to have the Grinch be funny. I don't understand it.
I mean, I guess
the movie's a lot shorter if you don't make him funny. Like that movie.
Every Dr. Seuss book, every Dr. Seuss movie, cartoon, like there's humor to it. Like whatever. Like the Grinch being funny is not. I don't know why that's such a deal breaker for you. Like I'm fine with the Grinch being funny. It's fucking Dr. Seuss. It's supposed to be stupid and funny.
Also, what a snowflake.
A snowflake? What do you mean?
He gets made fun of, and then he goes and hides in a mountain for 40 years because he got made fun of. Get over yourself.
It has to be more to it. Come on. You do, baby. I guess the way the...
I guess what the story should have been is not that he was made fun of, but that he was the oppressed in a fascist regime that is Whoville.
Yeah, because it clearly, like you said,
they're not going to do that for a kids movie either. Like it's already an hour and 47-minute movie. We're not gonna spend time on him being oppressed. Let's do a quick little make fun of video and move on with this movie. But I'm fine with the Grinch being funny. I'm gonna have a hard disagree with you there because it's stupid and it's Dr. Seuss. That's not a deal breaker for me. I love Jim Carrey as the Grinch. I thought it was hilarious. David, anything?
No, I agree with what you said about the Grinch. I feel like if you don't have, why have Jim Carrey in the movie if you're not going to have him be funny? Like
Exactly.
That's
Don't
why
cast
they
Jim Carrey as the Grinch.
yeah. I felt like it elevated the movie, but obviously you don't feel the same way because you're wrong. But let's move on.
I stand
don't
with Roger
respectfully-
Ebert.
Oh yeah. Even he left it open to agree that people are gonna like it. That's all. That's how I interpreted his last sentence.
It is our what did he say? It's our poopery and it's BJ sludge.
Yeah.
I did enjoy Ebert's comment that Jim Carrey has worked harder than any actor has ever worked in a movie to small avail.
Well, I'm sure it's in the trivia. It has to be, but to get into that costume is intense.
This movie has great trivia. I've got good trivia for it. Cindy Lou Who. I thought outside of the Grinch, she was the best thing in the movie.
See, and that's funny because ironically, I agree with BJ about Cindy Lou. I'd like she was just a plot device who did like just throw that.
But
she
you
was
needed
the excuse.
you needed the plot device.
No, I get it. She was the excuse to get the Grinch down there. Like otherwise, how do you write him down there? You know, during everything.
You needed someone to question the fascist regime. That's what she did. I like Cindy Lou Who. Like
How did we not talk about that?
Are we just making our own movie? She's a freedom fighter now.
Well, because everything that's going on that we didn't talk about it. On a side note, when he was like the alarm goes off and they're like, "You just maxed out another credit card." I was just like, Jesus. I was like, God. Wow.
I felt that.
Yeah, I did too.
I was like, consumer debt is hilarious.
Yeah.
The consumerism in this movie was top notch. I loved it. I know that we don't have anything else to say about Cindy Lou Who. Let's go on to George Bluth of what's the Bluth company name? Do you remember, BJ?
No, but now I'm curious.
While you're looking that up, I thought it was ironic that he starts out the movie trying to hide that he's a piece of shit. And then just as the movie progresses, he doesn't even try to hide it.
Have you ever kissed a man that's had their tonsils removed twice?
It's just called the Bluth Company.
Okay, George Bluth of the Bluth Company. A man who has had his tonsils removed twice. How much dick do you have to be sucking to get your tonsils removed twice?
Or if it's Ben Affleck, maybe it's just one. You just have to one Ben Affleck size.
The fucking hanger that Benny Flack has. Show us your dick, Michael Douglas. Benny Flack did.
Hang on, I'm just realizing it because it's still up. The article that I searched for the name of the company in Arrested Development, it's from a Forbes article titled 6 Bluth-approved business lessons from Arrested Development.
Perfect. Anything else about George Bluth?
Nah.
I love that we talked about Arrested Development more than the Grinch. Who's Lou Who?
Cindy's father.
He had a redemption arc in the last 30 seconds of this movie.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where the movie didn't get improved by that redemption, but it's nice that it was in there.
It was one of those sweet moments that BJ said wasn't in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last 30 seconds. It was sweet. Awesome. Cool. Cool.
BJ, you break down Christine Baranski.
I was debating if she goes on the Rushmore for this podcast, but it doesn't sound like you're in agreement here. It sounds like I'm on an island.
No, if you were better at comedy, you would have responded with
If I was better at comedy.
The muscles.
I don't know. I was like, I should not be this attracted to a Who from Whoville.
Get out of there, Marty.
But yeah, I mean, it's because they made her look good. They didn't even give her the who knows.
No.
No, they didn't. I don't. Everyone had a who knows except for her.
Yeah, because Christine Baranski was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that for this movie.
Will not be. Sorry, guys. I'll kiss a green motherfucker, but I won't do that.
Yeah, Jim Carrey can motorboat me. I don't put on the stupid fake nose. Deal?
I could almost.
Yeah.
That sounds like an actual conversation that happened.
Jim Carrey can motorboat me with all that yak hair he's wearing, but we're not doing the stupid Whoville nose. No, thank you. Speaking of yak hair, here's my trivia, and that's just that's much further down this trivia list, but his costume was made out of yak hair.
Wow.
Put that shit on every day. Anyways, let's get started because I have a ton of trivia. A ton. All right, my first bit of trivia is all set design stuff because this set is ridiculous. There are 40,000 computer-generated trees in the opening shot sequence.
Ugh. I'm just doing like 7 different trees, and we're multiplying that to get your 40,000.
Me too.
I guarantee that's what they did.
No,
Dang.
that is not what they did.
You think you could cut one of those down for $5?
The Whoville set was built mostly on the backlot of Universal Studios behind the Bates Motel. During breaks in filming, Jim Carrey would surprise and scare tourists on the Universal backlot tour by running out of the hotel wearing a dress and brandishing a knife. Nobody recognized him, and the tour guides at Universal Studios will tell you the story when you pass by the hotel on the backlot tour.
Is that the Hollywood one, I assume? Not the Florida one? Okay.
Duh. The Florida one's an amusement park. This is where they shoot movies.
No, they tried to shoot at least TV shows, I learned, in Florida. They
Notice how you said tried?
Yeah, it wasn't cost. That's why I was wondering, is this that time period where maybe they were trying to do stuff? And so never mind. Go on.
Made the trivia list cool, David. It was about Jim Carrey running around in a dress and a Grinch costume with a knife. So fuck you.
Sweet. That's cool.
The set of Whoville houses was left intact on the Universal Studios backlot when filming wrapped. Though all the decorations were removed and the paint colors faded over the years, it remained standing for nearly 20 years before finally being demolished during COVID in 2020 to make room for other additions. It could be soon on Universal Studio tours and was a highlight during many holiday celebrations.
Wow.
They just left it up for 20 years. That's prime real estate. That's on the lot of Universal Studios, and you just left it up for 20 years and did nothing with it?
And then listen to this. As the filming, this movie had the largest set at Universal. It was that big. And they just left it up for 20 years.
Wow.
The movie was originally going to be shot on green screen with CGI sets added in post-production. Obviously, they decided not to do that.
After they made 40,000 trees, they were like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, but the 40,000... Oh, I got it. Because their computer got it. If I was better at comedy, I would have been on top of it.
That's what she said.
That's what
Boom. Said. The soundstage for the Whoville set measured around 30,000 square feet. There was approximately 600 visual effects that were used in this movie, totaling 43 minutes of screen time. And then my last bit of statistics for set design. Makeup appliances used during production, approximately 8,000. Props created for this movie, over 300. Number of ornaments, over 8,000. Number of candy canes, over 1,938. Crushed marble used for snow on Who's Suburbs exterior sets, 152,000 pounds. Outfits created by wardrobe, 443. Number of sound stages used, 11. Makeup artists used on busiest day, 45. Styrofoam used to build sets, 2 million linear feet, or 6 miles if it was cut into standard board length.
How long did this movie take to make?
I don't know. Now I'm wondering, like, inflation of 1999 to now.
Not quite double.
Not quite double. So we're looking at around $240 million. That's still a lot to get done with $240 million today.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised it wasn't more.
That's pretty nuts. General trivia now. The final theatrical movie of Josh Ryan Evans, who is the 8-year-old Grinch before he sadly passed away in 2002 at the age of 20. So RIP. The word Grinch is said 67 times in this movie.
Wish it was two more.
Me too.
That's probably why they didn't do it. Being universal. They're like, guys, chill out. Let's get close enough where we can make the joke.
I just love Kevin always putting the thermostat on 69 for no reason other than it's 69.
Yeah.
Not hot, not cold, doesn't matter. It's all about the comedy.
Yeah.
Sir Anthony Hopkins recorded all of the narration for this movie in one single day.
Wow.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah. The
That
Grinch
wasn't that much narration in it, though, was it? You could do that one day.
Narration's easy. The Grinch is the only character who breaks the fourth wall in the movie. He actively tries to avoid speaking in rhyme and even interacts with the narrator.
When they made that a joke in the movie where he was rhyming and he was like, "No!" Like he got all pissed off.
I'm speaking in rhymes.
Yeah.
Voice actress June Foray, who is the voice of Cindy Lou in the original cartoon, expressed her dislike for the film in her autobiography, Did You Grow Up With Me Too? She wrote that she went to see the film, but Chuck Jones was unable to attend due to his poor health. After seeing the film, she commented that she was glad that Jones didn't get to see it, believing the film would have finished him off.
See, she agrees with me.
Is Chuck Jones Dr. Seuss?
I have no idea.
Or is that the creator of the original cartoon? Who cares? It would have finished him off, and I don't care. He's dead anyways. Costume designer Rita Ryak had a bit of fun in designing different Whos. Amongst them was a Channel Who and a Prada Who. American consumerism, baby.
Get them fancy brands out there.
That's right. Now we need some Louis Vuitton Whos and some I forget the other one, doesn't matter. The photo of the Grinch in the Whoville newspaper has the Grinch in the same pose as an infamous alleged photo taken of Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch from the Patterson Gimlin movie. Another movie, Elf, similarly featured its main character, Buddy the Elf, walking near Central Park and mimicking the walking style of Sasquatch. So there's some Elf trivia for you, David. Did that for you?
That. Yeah. Yeah.
The jewels in Martha May's hair when she's explaining the Grinch's backstory is from the tree topper that the young Grinch made for Martha. Martha's been diddling her cooter over those muscles for years.
I would not call the Grinch muscular.
The song, which is played over the credits, Where Are You Christmas, was written by Mariah Carey and performed by Faith Hill. Carey was initially set to release her recording of the song, but due to a legal dispute between herself and her ex-husband, Tony Motala, who was also the chairman of Carey's label at the time, she was unable to do so. Hill was then brought in to re-record the song. Carey still retained songwriting credit while Hill retained producing credit. Actors and actresses went to Who school with a choreographer learning how to move and be comfortable being a Who. Fascism! When the Grinch is hating the Who's alphabetically, there is a telescope in the background with a fake green leg. The leg has lace on it, similar to the leg lamp in A Christmas Story.
Oh, that's cool.
The Christmas Story is a good one too. I don't like. I've grown out of it, but Christmas Story is good.
I understand why it's a Christmas like a classic, but I never really cared for it myself.
Yeah. Many Circus de Olay performers were used for the more aerobatic tricks and stunts in the movie. They can be spotted in the beginning of some of the Who's in the parade. During the 2000 holiday season, a licensing agreement between Universal Studios and the U.S. Postal Office or Postal Service allowed mail to be postmarked Happy Hoildays.
That's lame.
When Cindy Lou Who was discussing how the aunts got the Grinch, one says it was during one of their parties. You can see through the window that there's a lot of adult activity going on, and at the end, the aunts are putting keys in a glass jar. This is a nod to a key party or swinger party, obviously an adult-only joke that kids would not get.
Well, growing up, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about the swinger part. I thought it was because they were drinking. You know, like you turn your keys in so you can't drive home. I didn't realize it was a more adult than that.
If your kids did get that joke, you may want to take a good hard look in the mirror.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
If your kids get that joke, maybe don't take them to see Violent Night at 11.
They didn't get the joke. Fuck you guys.
Jim Carrey was suggested for the role by Audrey Gesell, the widow of Dr. Seuss, who controlled the rights to the book.
Oh, see, fuck you, BJ. Even the original Dr. Seuss was for Jim Carrey. You hear that?
His wife.
Yeah. Who knew Dr. Seuss better than his wife? That's a bad example. Sometimes wives don't know their husbands.
But David, I agree with you. She also suggested, out of everyone on this list, I'm going to list the two that I think could have done as good a job as I think me and David think Jim Carrey did. She also suggested Dustin Hoffman, Robin Williams, others that were thought of, Eddie Murphy, Tom Hanks, and then the last two that I think would have done a good job, Jack Nicholson or Tim Curry.
Those are all. I don't agree with the Tom Hanks one in that list. I don't
either. Or Eddie Murphy, but I really think Jack Nicholson and Tim Curry could have done a good job too.
I like the Tim Curry one.
Mm-hmm. He's got that really expressive face that Jim Carrey has too. Through all the makeup and everything, you'd be able to get a lot out of him.
What do you think of an F-bomb dropping Samuel L. Jackson Grinch?
Let's make it this year.
I mean, it would be funny, but it wouldn't be a kids movie after that. It'd be like, you know, it'd be funny though.
There's a new Grinch movie that's a horror movie. It doesn't need to be a kids movie. I'm down for whatever. No movie other than this has featured so many characters in heavy makeup and costumes since the 1939 making of Wizard of Oz. Dr. Seuss trivia. In the original adaptation of The Grinch, his main dislike of Christmas is due to the loud noise and extreme gluttony. However, for this movie, an extensive backstory was created to explain why he hates Christmas. I think you could have just done loud noises, extreme gluttony, and consumerism and been just fine. You didn't need the whole backstory. But anyways.
I think it was a pad run time, personally.
In the final scene, Cindy Lou Who passes Max a plate of green eggs and ham. The original Grinch was not green. Like everything else in the book, he was black and white with some red and pink splotches, but producer and director Ron Howard wanted this movie to be an adaptation of the 1966 TV cartoon special. When the Grinch was sucking up all the presents at the Lou's house, there is a goldfish in a bowl, a reference to Dr. Seuss's Cat in the Hat. And lastly, on the Dr. Seuss trivia, Audrey Gesell had veto power over the final script for the film. She objected to several elements, notably jokes aimed at mature audiences. She also objected to the inclusion of a Who family with no Christmas decorations, known as the Whosteins. The implication being that the family was Jewish, as well as a stuffed trophy head of the Cat in the Hat being included in the Grinch's lair.
Ooh.
Okay, that last one, I can see why she vetoed that one. I can see why she vetoed the Jewish family for whatever reason.
Because fascism.
Why?
Fascism. That's the reason.
Yeah. But I don't like that she, like... That's what makes a kid movies fun for adults. It would have made it more enjoyable for BJ, who already hated this movie. If there were some mature jokes in there, I feel like BJ would have enjoyed those. It made the movie a little bit better for him.
Agreed. Here's some Max trivia. Max, the male dog, was played by Kelly. Max was originally going to be a CGI dog to give him comical expressions, but they decided to go with the real dog, obviously. The scene where the Grinch is directing his dog before stealing Christmas is Jim Carrey making fun of producer and director Ron Howard imitating his style of directing. Howard found the scene hilarious and decided to include it in this movie.
Nice.
I love when people can take jokes about themselves, because a lot of people in showbiz cannot. The words Grinch and Christmas are spoken by every major character in the movie except for Max, because he's a dog. And
thanks for clarifying.
Of course. Despite living with the Grinch, Max has a lot of Christmas spirit. Max is shown secretly dancing to Christmas music while the Grinch is away.
It's his conscience, I'm telling you.
Random character trivia. Cindy Lou Who became one of the leading rock singers and songwriters of the 2010s, fronting the band The Pretty Reckless. She also later reflected on her role as Cindy Lou Who, quoting, "The Grinch changed my life in a multitude of ways. One of them being I was made fun of relentlessly. Every time I would start a new school or go somewhere else, I didn't even think the kids knew my name. I was just Grinch Girl. Not even the character name, just Grinch Girl. I got used to it, but it was alienating." Which is why she's the frontrunner for a heavy metal band. I found that funnier, clearly, but that's okay. I'm going to end it with Jim. I'm going to end it with Jim Carrey trivia. Still quite a bit left, but I'm getting there, guys. Many of the Grinch's lines were ad-libbed by Jim Carrey.
I figured the whole thing was.
Yeah.
I figured he had no direction. They just said, "Jim, go."
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you? You have Jim Carrey. That's why you brought him on. When the Grinch pulls the sheet off the table, all the silverware was scripted to fall off. Jim Carrey pulled the sheet off so well that he improvised and went back and pushed the silverware off.
And I love that he flips the table too. I mean, he like knocks them off and makes sure the table gets knocked over.
This is the second time Jim Carrey was in the highest grossing film of the year, the first time being 1995's Batman Forever. Jim Carrey's accent of the Grinch is based off Sean Connery. He accepted the role.
Bad Sean Connery impression.
I don't think he was like totally impersonating him. It was just like kind of like, this is where I'm going to start and then make it my own kind of thing. But I don't know. He accepted the role of the Grinch when he heard a tape of a kid's choir singing the song "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." When the Grinch drove the little car when he was destroying Christmas, Carrey said that it was really hard to drive and took him forever to get the feel of the car.
That's commitment there.
Audrey Giselle came to the set of Man on the Moon to see if Jim Carrey was right to play the Grinch. He was so deep into the character of Andy Kaufman, however, he had to essentially do an impression of him doing an impression of the Grinch, and that was what got him the gig. I love and hate stuff like that because the only thing I can think of is Marlon Brando just being like, "Why don't you just act?"
I was watching a movie on the plane a couple of weeks ago, and somebody was doing method acting and died, like in the movie. And they had like a news person come on, and he's like, "If you don't know what method acting is, it's basically where you act as annoying as fucking possible to everyone your entire life while you're shooting the film."
Yes. Notable people: Jim Carrey, Daniel Day-Lewis, Shia LaBeouf. Like, get fucking off of it and just act. It's called acting. Anyways, Jim Carrey admitted to feeling ashamed for not trying to prevent some of the adult humor in this movie, and has repeatedly stated that all the jokes he ad-libbed were age-appropriate. He then found out that producer and director Ron Howard had removed many other jokes that were even raunchier, but had to keep some of it due to what they both claimed as studio interference. After the Grinch leaves Whoville for the second time, the camera pans up and a statue of an elephant can be seen in reference to Horton Hears a Who.
Oh,
Jim Carrey voiced Horton in Horton Hears a Who in 2008.
Oh, I did not know that.
I know, I always thought it was Steve Carell.
Yeah.
When the Grinch's heart begins to grow, it hurts his chest and he falls to the ground and wounds his hand. He turns back and forth between two injuries, mimicking a similar gag from Ace Ventura when Nature Calls, when he takes a spear to each leg.
Nice.
Except he literally had a heart attack in this movie.
Right. End it with a bunch of costume trivia, because how do you not wear in a costume like that? During shooting, more than 1,000 man-hours were used to apply the extensive makeup on actors and actresses. Suze Collins, a Los Angeles-based sweater designer, along with 2 other knitters, produced 250 pieces of original knitwear for this movie, including 8 identical red striped sweatshirts for Carrey in 4 months. That works out to about 83.3 sweaters per person in just 120 days. And they were all hand knitted.
Ugh.
Wow.
Eddie Murphy visited the set in full makeup and costume as Sherman Klump because Nutty Professor 2, The Klumps, was being shot nearby. He got a picture taken with Jim Carrey in full Grinch makeup and costume. Oscar-winning makeup artist Rick Baker worked on both films for both actors.
He was a busy man.
No shit. Yeah. Jim Carrey stated on the Graham Norton Show, season 16, episode 11, that Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels, Jude Law, Tasman Gregg, and Nicole Schweizer, that the only thing that helped him endure the hours of being in the makeup chair was listening to everything that the Bee Gees had done.
Stand alive, stand alive.
Jim
I meant to mute my mic.
Jim Carrey's Grinch suit is covered in yak hair, which was dyed green and sewed onto a spandex suit.
Yak?
Yak. The first time he tried on the Grinch makeup, Jim Carrey was so uncomfortable that he kicked a hole in the wall and told Ron Howard that he couldn't play the role. He had compared the experience to being buried alive.
It looks wildly uncomfortable.
Yes. Carrey spent 92 days in Grinch makeup, spending 2 hours in the morning getting in and 1 hour in the evening getting out. According to Carrey, he became a Zen master while sitting in the makeup chair. I mean, because how could you not?
I just wouldn't take the role.
Me too. Carrey revealed on the Graham Norton Show that he felt so confined and uncomfortable in the latex skin that he sought counseling from a CIA agent who taught him torture resistance techniques. Again, just wouldn't take the role.
Yeah. If I have to see somebody from the CIA in terms of how to resist torture, just keep your fucking money.
I've made enough of it already. Jim Carrey would smoke often in order to cope with the stress caused by his intense makeup, which he compared to being buried alive.
However, that doesn't sound like something a Zen master would do.
However, as his suit was covered in flammable yak hair, he had to use a very long cigarette holder in order to avoid a potential fire hazard.
Oh, so he's out there looking like Cruella de Vil?
In the Grinch suit.
And this is all before douche flutes, so he couldn't even use that.
What's a douche flute?
It's a vape.
Oh.
Douche flute. Yeah. You never heard that term? Yeah.
No.
But that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just going to use it.
The actual time it took to apply Carrey's Grinch makeup was around 2 hours and 15 minutes. The makeup artist is very vocal about his difficult experience working with Carrey on set. Quote, Carrey was really mean to everybody, and at the beginning of the production, they couldn't finish. After 2 weeks, we could only finish 3 days worth of shooting schedule because suddenly he would just disappear, and when he came back, everything was ripped apart. We couldn't shoot anything. Things escalated to the point where Hero had to leave the production for a few days until director Ron Howard called him back, promising Carrey would keep his temper in check. Hero returned to production to continue applying Carrey's makeup, but cited it as the worst experience of his life and one of the reasons why he initially retired from the film business. Producer and director Ron Howard was so thankful for Jim Carrey putting up with the uncomfortable hours to apply his makeup that during filming he put on the Grinch suit with full makeup and directed one day with the suit on. He intended this to be a show of appreciation to Carrey. However, when Carrey saw Howard in full Grinch outfit, he was angered, believing it was a stunt double who looked nothing like him. Jim Carrey's yellow contact lenses were so uncomfortable that he wasn't able to wear them at times during filming. Some shots of his eyes were colored in post-production. And to end it all, Jim Carrey actually contorts his face muscles to get the Grinch's sinister grin. It is not a prosthetic.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Yep. David, how's your food?
Wait, I muted my mic.
You did not.
You didn't. How do you think we can hear you?
Okay, I didn't know that you could hear me. My God, you shouldn't have to. I have a look. I'll show you. You guys can see it. This mute thing. It's like a click thing. My bad, guys.
Thought he was feeding a horse an apple in there.
It's Frito pie. That's why it's so loud. Wow, I feel terrible right now. A part of me said to edit that out, like you just redo what you just said, but then part of me is like, you got to hear the apology part. I do generally feel terrible.
I'm also not going back over the trivia.
That was a lot of trivia. No, but you might have to break some of that trivia because it's probably very distracting. I feel bad.
Nah, it'll be fine. It's a shitty movie podcast. We have one listener and he's on it right now. What's our movie impersonation today, BJ?
I'm going to do the original song. I figured you can do whatever you want. There's plenty of them in here. But I'm going to do the original song, and I don't really know the lyrics, so this one will be short. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You're as cuddly as a cactus and as fluffy as a stick. I wouldn't touch you with Jacob's 4-inch dick.
Man, that was quality, BJ. Damn.
We should have had you go last. I don't even know if we can follow that up.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not following that up. I'm bowing out.
Well, what's something else you could do besides the song?
Oh no, I'm not doing an impersonation. BJ wins. Like
he wins. But you also did one earlier where I love that slip. You know, we were talking about the slip slowly into madness. You kind of did one.
When I was talking about my 4 favorite scenes. Yeah, it doesn't count when you're doing it there. Do you want to do one, David? Because I'm bowing out of that one. BJ wins that one.
I think BJ wins it, and I love the I wouldn't touch it with Jacob's 4. That was awesome.
Yes.
BJ does that kind of shit all the time. He comes up with shit off the cuff out of nowhere. The dude can rhyme.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on the movie in general. BJ, what's your rating of this quote dog shit movie?
3.2.
Wow.
Does not surprise me. David.
Because of our conversation earlier, I'm going to give it a 6.9. All right.
Nice.
All right. You know what, David? I'm gonna follow you 6.9.
Yeah. It's definitely not above. Like I said, it's a good Christmas movie. I just can't give it above a 7 just because it's just not a great movie, but it is a good movie. It is a good quality movie.
BJ, should they remake this?
No. In a cartoon or a live action? Do it in a cartoon. That's fine.
Well, they did that a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's on Peacock right now.
Is it good, David?
I haven't seen it, but I know that it's there.
I figured you would have seen it.
It's more of those I just don't know. I had all these grand plans of why I've been on this baby leave, and I'm just so exhausted all the time. I haven't done anything.
Yeah, because you have a newborn baby.
They're exhausting.
It's currently my favorite joke because every time you can't do something, I'm just like, dude, you don't even have a job right now. It's like you're acting like you have a newborn kid or something. And it's my favorite joke right now.
Yeah,
because
I love her, but man, it's exhausting.
Out of the 3 of us, I have no kids and so much free time.
You have so much free time, you're quite literally traveling.
Yeah. Okay. BJ, you want to know what the people at IMDb thought? Because you're going to agree with the bad ones.
Always.
I have 2 and 2 because I thought they were funny. The first one by Vasigo27 titled, or 10 out of 10 titled, Okay, with just one complaint. A nice borderless movie for just about anyone. And I have but one complaint. Why was Hopkins cast as the narrator? I've had enough of this guy's hammy style, and I can't take him anymore. Why wasn't Angus, the tall man Scrim, asked to do the narration? Or, as another user suggested, Christopher Lee. Hey, even Carrie himself probably would do a better job. ...
That's a weird, and that was a 1 out of 10 review.
No, that was 10 out of 10.
Oh,
He thought the
okay,
movie.
okay.
He thought it was great, minus Anthony Hopkins, and I'm just like, what a weird stance.
It's weird.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of anti-Anthony Hopkins comments.
I mean, especially in the year 2000. But whatever. From Foxhound-377814, titled Jim Carrey's Golden Egg. You can look at this as a Christmas movie, or you can look at this as a Jim Carrey classic. Either way, you will love it from start to finish. The story of a young girl, Cindy, trying to get the dreaded Grinch in on the Christmas spirit in her local village of Whoville is something that's a recipe for laughs and chortles.
Fascist village of Whoville.
Jim Carrey is the WMD of this film. He is an absolute gut-busting crack-up as the Grinch. His on-screen antics are relentless, intense, and just pure gold. Especially when Cindy first goes to visit him on his mountain, and he's just screaming and insulting her at every turn. And even if he's hidden behind 5 kilos of makeup and costume, his facial expressions to the movie are parallel to none. He is absolutely hilarious all the way through, and it's the only way I can describe him in the simplest form. How the Grinch Stole Christmas is a full-on slapstick, family-style barrel of laughs. I work in retail, so Christmas is always a bit of a stressful time of year for me, especially with 2 young kids of my own. But I always look forward to seeing movies like The Grinch and National Lampoon's and Home Alone when Christmas rolls around again. They're always movies that remind me of the spirit of Christmas and that it should be a happy and entertaining time of year. The Grinch is the perfect reminder of why we love Christmas and what it means to watch and the effect it can have on a social level. Purely a magical film, one of Ron Howard's best. Watch it multiple times.
No thanks. Did the NSA flag this review because they investigated Jim Carrey on being a weapon of mass destruction?
That person liked that movie too much. That review came out in 2020. From EDC Guy 19, 1 out of 10. Titled, Did Hollywood Learn Nothing from Santa Claus the Movie?
Oh, fuck this guy already.
This overproduced pile of sludge could only be tolerated by Europeans or other viewers somehow unfamiliar with the Dr. Seuss storybook or the charming animated 25-minute Chuck Jones version. Over 90 minutes of enormous fascist-looking set pieces teeming with creepy rat-like who's seemingly filmed.
Did he write fascist set pieces, or did you add that in?
He wrote fascist set pieces.
Oh, my guy.
Teeming with creepy rat-like who's seemingly filmed through a filtered lens that gives it a dark, depressing, bleak, and dreary atmosphere. $100 million of eye candy combined with a mean-spirited script. Quote, "Hey, honey, our baby's here. He looks just like your boss," has corrupted a classic children's story. The producers should hang their heads. Do not buy this DVD.
He just insulted the one part I laughed out loud on this movie.
But other than that, you agreed with everything he had to say.
I like how he just, for whatever reason, threw all of Europe under the bus on that one. Like, this was made for Europe. I was like, damn.
Also, I'm pretty sure Europeans are familiar with Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
From Speechless 5, titled Ugly and Lifeless. There's nothing more distasteful than a movie that helps perpetuate the very evils it supposedly tries to protest. With this live action How the Grinch Stole Christmas, for instance, we have a movie that, like the original cartoon, tries to launch a thinly veiled attack on the American consumer culture. But this movie is a product of the very same ridiculous excess that Seuss tried to discourage. It's one of the most expensive movies of all time, to the extent that it may just barely turn a profit if it makes more money than any other movie this year. But a huge portion of its budget is completely wasted. Why hire such expensive actors if you're going to hide them behind awful rat-nosed prosthetics? Why hire the $20 million Jim Carrey when they rendered him unrecognizable with 40 pounds of latex? And do half his performance with CGI anyway? Why even make the movie in the first place with a script this grating and unbearable? Watching the film, I got the impression that it would have been infinitely better if it had been directed by Tim Burton. Just look at Edward Scissorhands, or his stop-motion masterpiece, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Burton clearly understands the bittersweet feel of Christmas better than any other filmmaker in Hollywood. But then, of course, I realized why they went with Ron Howard. They obviously approached Burton first, but he replied, "A live-action version of The Grinch? Are you guys nuts?"
BJ,
So
did you
are
write
they
this and
imply-
put your name something else?
BJ's IMDb username is speechless5.
Yes. Are they implying that you're like, you know what, the next, like, the lesser version of Tim Burton is Ron Howard? That's definitely not me.
Yeah.
David, the main question of the pod, not is it a good or bad movie, not should they remake it, should people watch this movie?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Oh, for sure.
I wish y'all could see my brother's facial expression. No doubt in his mind.
You almost didn't see it too. My phone's at 2%. But no, I would recommend this movie. It's definitely not a movie I watch every year, but I'll circle around to it. You know, I'll circle around.
BJ, should people watch this movie?
Nope. Watch the 26-minute 1960s version. It's so much better.
I think if you're a fan of Jim Carrey, have fun. Like, it's a fun movie. I don't think anybody should go into this movie thinking it's going to be great, because I don't know if I've said this already. I don't think Christmas movies are great. It's okay. They don't have to be. But doesn't make it like you shouldn't watch it. You like Jim Carrey, watch this movie. It's fucking fun. Who cares?
Yeah, I will say that if you don't like Jim Carrey, this is not the movie for you. If you don't like his acting, do not watch this movie.
I mean, hell, BJ disagrees. He likes Jim Carrey, and he's like, no, don't watch this dog shit movie.
Yeah,
Well,
if you want to watch Jim Carrey, watch The Mask, watch Ace Ventura, watch Liar Liar.
Yeah,
Bruce Almighty. There are other options, but I'm like, it's still like, yeah, that's my.
No, I was saying if you already hate Jim Carrey, you're not going to like this. That's, you know, like BJ was like a 50-50 shot. He likes Jim Carrey, but he doesn't like the style of movie. So what are you going to do? Some people are just unsavable.
BJ's a Hallmark Christmas movie kind of guy.
You got to admit, did you enjoy watching this movie or Catch Me If You Claws more?
I mean, about the same.
Okay.
I believe I rated Catch Me If You Claws higher, so I guess just based on rating, I enjoyed that movie more.
Yeah, but you rated it on the Hallmark scale.
Yeah,
I love that y'all's podcast has different scales for different movies. I love that y'all like, just because I rate this movie an 8 doesn't mean that it's better than this movie. I'm like, but you rated it higher.
Yeah. Just because Jay and Silent Bob is a 10 does not mean it's better than the 9 that I gave Gone Girl.
Also, us liking a movie more is different than a movie being better.
That's true.
Well, David, I don't think anyone's ever going to catch up to how many times you're the guest on our pod.
I don't even know.
This is your 4th time. I wonder what the 5th time's going to be.
Well, I remember my 5th time.
We got to make it a pun type movie.
Why don't we do fasten your seatbelts?
I guess maybe. I don't know. I'm still salty about it. Still to this day. If you guys ever go to Universal, I would even. Don't get me wrong. The Fast and Furious ride is trash. It sucks. But I won't even go on it, even to waste time, because of them ruining a pun for me.
I love how much. I love that we're all salty bitches.
Yeah.
Over something so petty.
So petty.
Well, that's us at IRMFT. We'll see you after the holidays for something. We got a couple movies on backup. We have things we want to record. Who knows what comes out next?
I think y'all wait. This is just for me. Y'all don't have to record it, but my phone died, so I need to hear y'all can just edit this out. I need to hear y'all's best Christopher Walken impression. I've been dying to hear it.
Wait, hold on, David. So we'll see y'all after the holidays. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
All the pagan
the
stuff. All the stuff. You don't celebrate. Who cares? Who gives a shit?
Happy winter solstice, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Have a good one. That's us at IRMFT.
Bye.